Here's a little more cream for you. Here you go.
Thank you.
Hello friends, and welcome back to my kitchen adventures. Today we'll be doing another recipe from the Magnolia Table cookbook. This recipe is the biscuits, JoJo's biscuits that we'll make. We'll be using those biscuits in two ways. One, we're gonna make some strawberry shortcake, and two, we're gonna make some biscuits and gravy. So this is a recipe I first made a couple of years ago. It turns out buttery, light, and fluffy. So let's start making it. First, we're gonna add some self-raising flour. We're gonna mix our dry ingredients together. This flour has baking powder and salt in it to help with the rise of these biscuits. This is flour I just make from a recipe online. I'll share that with you. And then we're going to add some baking powder for more lift and rise. Getting that in there. And then some baking soda. There we go. So we've got our dry ingredients together, and so we're just going to give that a mix. And now we're going to add some cold salted butter. So the recipe says to grate the butter. You can chop it up into little bits and then use a pastry blender to get your butter in there. So we're going to add a few sticks of butter. Now we've got our butter in there, so we're going to incorporate our dry ingredients with our butter. You just can really get your hands in there. The butter will help the biscuit to be nice and flaky when it bakes and melts in the oven. So now we're going to take a couple of eggs. Mix that up and stir that into our flour and butter mix. Then next we're going to get our buttermilk in here. Get that mixed around. So the buttermilk should help your mix to come together. We recently moved back to the south, and I find that the recipes that we made when we were living up north requires different amounts of ingredients, especially when it comes to flour. So if this recipe is a little dry, add a little more buttermilk. If it's too wet, add a little bit more flour. Okay, so it's come together pretty good. The recipe says it'll come together in a sticky mass. I feel that I've accomplished that. Now that the dough is put together, this will sit covered in a refrigerator for about 30 minutes, or it can sit overnight for you to make in the morning. All right, so our dough is ready. We're gonna get some flour on the bench here. Okay, and we're gonna scrape this out of the bowl. We're not gonna handle it a lot. We're just gonna put that on here and put that together. It should make about 20 biscuits. We've got our biscuit cutter ready. The recipe said it should be about 1/2 inch tall. And we'll just start cutting. And the recipe also says to put the biscuits together, touching on your parchment lined cookie sheet. And you just squish that back together. Try not to overwork it. And usually the second batch, I make a little taller because I find that it doesn't raise as much. Usually. Not sure how these biscuits, I don't remember what these biscuits are like in that sense. We'll see. So these are a little taller and more craggly. But they'll still turn out delicious. So I just kind of, so maybe I'll just form this one together. Let me see. Just form it together in this shape and size. We'll have used all of our dough. All right. So now that our biscuits are put together, we're going to brush it with a little bit of buttermilk and a beaten egg. This will help give it its lovely shine, and it'll brown it up real nice. Right, our biscuits are brushed, so it's going to go in a 400-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes till they're brown. All right, friends, we're going to put together our strawberry shortcake. So our strawberries have been rinsed and drained, and we're going to get them hulled and quartered. All right, we've got our strawberries done. Now we're going to add a little bit of sugar. It is off season for strawberries in my area, so I'm going to add a little extra sugar. to that. And I'm going to add a little vanilla to it also. Helps to bring out some of the flavors. So this is just going to get tossed, and I usually like to set it aside. It'll just really absorb the sugar and come together well. So we're going to set that aside. And now we're going to make our whipped cream. And here's a couple of cups of heavy whipping cream. We're going to put some vanilla in. And we're going to add some sugar. And we're going to whip that all together until we have some soft to stiff peaks. You can pull it out to test it. Not quite there yet. Doesn't take long to just about get there. We're at soft peaks. We're gonna call that good. Now it's stiff peaks. There you have your own homemade whipping cream. Nice and buttery. So we've got all our pieces to our strawberry shortcake put together. So now we're gonna combine them to have our dessert. Here's our lovely biscuits that are very buttery and flaky. That just pull apart there. There we go. And then we've got our strawberries. So our strawberries have been sitting for a few minutes, and then it really gets absorbed and it has that nice syrup that we were looking for as it combined with the strawberries. So we get our strawberries on there. And finally, our whipped cream. And then we're going to put our tops on over. And there you have it, strawberry shortcake. All right, we're going to dig in and let you know what we think.
We've got the best job.
That's really good.
So good with the fresh whipped cream.
Fresh is definitely the way to go. So we hope that you've enjoyed this recipe. Thank you for joining us on this kitchen adventure. I hope you would make this at home and be inspired by this video. So go ahead, make it, eat it, and enjoy. Until next time.